Okay, so it's 6:02 my time. I think we're good to go. Hello, everyone. For those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Judas. I'm Sovereign Marketing Lead, started about 2 months ago. And the first thing you should know about me is that I love Bitcoin, probably more than anything else in this world. It really is, in my opinion, the most important thing that happened in my lifetime, probably in the last 100 years. A few years ago, I got to know this amazing invention and fell straight down the rabbit hole. The learning process in Bitcoin, as you all know, is hard and awesome and can cost you a lot of money. And I wanted to help people and guide them, how to not make the same mistakes that I've done. So I created an online community for Bitcoin noobs, which later on developed for some courses to that day. And up until today, people are thanking me for helping them get through this latest bear market. If you're unmuted, please mute yourself so that I won't have to mute you. B.S. Thanks. So yeah, as I was saying, building this online community, helping people get through the bear market, and really that made me feel very good about myself. Helping people, not selling when it's hard. So yeah, the first thing you need to know about me is that really I love Bitcoin, and the second thing you should know about me is that I love helping other people. I also volunteered in the emergency services when I was younger. I have this community, and only yesterday I hosted a barbecue dinner for all of my friends. I hope you're not vegans or I didn't offend you in any way. So if I did, I'm sorry. Third and last thing you should know about me, at least for today, is that I can't rap, not like in Galandia at least, but I can play the guitar. So, to cover for Englandia, today I'm gonna write to you my first Sovryn song, sing to you, sorry, and I hope that you guys will enjoy it. So, there we go. If you know the rhythm, feel free to join. I was scared of DeFi and the hacks. I was scared of margin calls and getting liquidated. Now all my friends are sovereign, buying Mint and Zero and some Origin. Perpetual swap, landing with your interest is coming. We know that you all are waiting, and we appreciate your patience. We love you, and we thank you so much. So we would never be here without you, and don't you forget to stay sovereign. Oh, landing with your interest is coming. We know that you all are waiting, and we appreciate your patience. We love you, and we thank you so much. So we would never be here without you, and don't you forget to stay sovereign. All right, that was me. I hope you liked it. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing our mission, our vision. And Yago is telling me that my signal is weak, so I hope you could all hear it well. I will move to another room from now on. Okay, so the guidelines are, guys, as usual, if you'd like to speak, raise your hand, wait patiently, and we'll bring you on stage. I remind you again, please mute yourself so that I won't have to server mute you. Okay, before we go with the agenda, anyone wants to introduce yourself? Say hello. Okay. Well, then let's start with Yago. Go ahead. What is new?
Hello, Sovereigns, and to those Sovereigns among us who are American, happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to be pretty brief today because there's a lot to cover and I want to leave time for questions. But that doesn't mean that there hasn't been a lot going on. Most particularly, we had the Mynt token sale. I think was an extremely successful event. There was it was a new way of doing the sale. Allowed people the luxury of time to enter, and also allowed us to more properly manage load across the system. That worked very well. We continue to learn and adapt the systems based on prior experience. We also had the Zero Subprotocol pass, the SIP pass, which means that the Zero sale is coming up soon. Now, both Zero and Mynt have been postponed a little bit. And this is due to the fact that Zero and Mynt are tied together and should be coming out closely with each other. And both Zero and Mynt, as I think you guys know, are being built by ecosystem teams. And so when the core team was doing a review of Zero, we recognized that in the SIP, the Zero team had expressed that they were going to be sharing part of the revenue with SOV stakers. We recognized that the way that they had implemented this was not optimal, and so but we provided the feedback, and the Zero team have now pretty much completed the fix around that, and it's being audited. And so that means that Zero and Mynt will be out soon. Now, I see this as an extremely positive development in two very important ways. First of all, Bitcoin-backed stablecoins are crucial to us having the ability to build out the full potential and mature the financial ecosystem and economic ecosystem around Bitcoin and the ecosystem that is Sovryn. The second thing is the fact that we're starting to see these ecosystem projects come live at an accelerating pace. That tells us that we're starting to attract the kind of developer talent and the kind of mind share that is going to be very important, because ultimately open source projects are all about their ecosystem, and the growth of the Sovryn ecosystem is paramount. So this is, the launch of Mynt and Zero, I think, is going to be a milestone of enormous weight for Sovryn and for Bitcoin. And I think Zero Protocol is an extremely exciting product, but unmatched by anything in the centralized world or decentralized world. That is, we're starting to see how Sovryn is maturing into being able to offer truly unique systems. We also have under review SIP 31, splitting of AMM fees with SOV stakers, and some additional SIPs coming up, including the Niftify token sale. And there's some additional work being done by various teams on other ecosystem projects, including several NFT projects that are either in the works or being talked about. And so with that, I'd like to hand it back to Judas, because I think Light is about to speak about one of the most important things that have happened recently, which is the Lightning Network integration and the continued work there, which is also an ecosystem project. Judas, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Yago. As always, great to hear you. It's been wonderful. Really, these 2 months and all the progress and everything we've seen from Sovryn ever since I joined, it's just amazing and mind-blowing every single day. I'll just correct you on one single thing. Light is celebrating Thanksgiving, so he won't be joining us today, but Ororo is here to cover for him. So Ororo, the floor is yours.
Hey, thanks. And an amazing intro, Judas, really.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, Yago already said it. So the Lightning SOV bridge now supports swaps between Lightning Bitcoin and SOV. This is a great new addition, and for more information, you can visit the Lightning SOV channel on the Discord or follow the Lightning SOV bridge thread in the forum. So on both channels, you will find more information about this. And I'm sure that also the developers of the Lightning Bridge would be happy to answer any questions you might have. With that, I would continue with the general development update and what is in the pipeline for the next days. So our next updates will contain a protocol update to prevent dust positions on the system. Dust positions on the system are a pain for the watchers for the Sovryn nodes. So those of you who are running one might have had their experiences with dust positions, and with this update, they should be part of the past. Then we are pushing out a update to the fee sharing proxy, which allows us to withdraw SOV as SOV from the protocol to the fee sharing contract, instead of having to convert it to RBTC. And this is required for us so that we can trigger the first actual fee withdrawal in SOV. Currently, we haven't done it because this exception to the rule to convert everything to RBTC was missing. We are also deploying the refactored loan token contracts, which is critical for us because we need this refactoring in order to be able to further develop and improve these contracts because they reach the size limit. And then there is the long-awaited SIP 31, the AMM fee split, which we deployed to testnet today. But as we did so, we realized that we want to change one last thing on the implementation before we deploy it on mainnet. So we will likely face a few more days of delay. So sorry about that, but I think the delay will be worth it. Our other development streams are FastBTC. We received 2 out of 3 audit results and are currently just waiting for the results from a penetration test an external company is performing. So far, no major issues were found. So we are quite confident in the security of the code. We are at the moment still integrating the bridge into the smart contract of FastBTC, so that FastBTC in the future can not just be used to bridge your Bitcoin to RSK, but it can be used to directly bridge into any other chain which is connected to RSK via one of the Sovryn token bridges. And we are still expecting an update to mainnet this year. So considering that also the last audit result will not bring to surface any major issues. Then we need the FastBTC update also for our PerpSub product, which is currently facing delays with the audit. We got an outdated code review and are currently resolving it with the audit company. So we still do not have a finalized new timeline around this, but it will probably be a Q1 launch and we will not be able to do it anymore in December. We are using this delay to introduce some improvements as well, which we found out during some of our simulations, and are working on the meta transaction setup and are in general just continue the work on the front-end integration. On the limit order side, we made our contracts upgradable so that we can very easily extend the different options we have in the future. As I mentioned previously, we're starting off with limit orders for margin trades and limit orders for spot orders. And we are already working on the addition of more conditional order types, such as stop loss and take profit. So currently we are still in process of finishing the front end, and then the mid orders should be able to be deployed on mainnet. And I think this is the most important update from the core development, and it's not exhaustive, but I think it's the major part. And that's it from my side, so giving it back to you, Judas.
Okay, thank you very much, Ororo. This was an amazing update. So just really unwrapping it quick, the Lightning Bridge can now also swap SOV to Lightning Bitcoin. Is that correct, Ororo? Ororo?
Could you just repeat the question?
Yeah, you were muted. Okay, yeah, so it's very, very exciting news. I know we're all waiting for the perp swaps and limit orders. Some more and more features to Sovryn obviously would make it much better for all kinds of traders, from the low average user to the experienced algo trader, and obviously fast BTC, which we're all waiting for to actually move Sovryn from alpha to beta. Does anyone have questions for Ororo, guys, before we move on to creative? Just unmute yourself and shoot. I think someone asked in the chat what was pushed to Q1 launch, so she was talking about perp swaps. Okay, looks like no one went.
I've got a quick question.
All right, go ahead, buddy.
Are there any options for you guys to add liquidity on your side for the Lightning channels? It seems to be there's a lot of, on the nodes, there's nothing coming out. It doesn't appear.
I believe there is a plan for that, right, Yago?
Yeah, we're working on several different methods for providing liquidity. One of the things that we're looking to do is encourage people who have Lightning nodes to provide liquidity themselves. One of the more out there things that we're currently examining is the ability to do liquidity mining around Lightning Network, which I think would make us the first project to ever do such a thing, and would also highlight the advantage of being able to connect Lightning Network with smart contracts.
Yeah, liquidity mining on Lightning sounds extremely exciting to me, and I definitely never heard of anyone doing this before. And if you guys, you are our community and you are very smart, and if you have ideas on how can we incentivize others to, provide liquidity to our bridges, to Lightning, to whatever, we have a million of channels here on Discord. Just find the appropriate one and pitch us your idea. We're always looking to hear from you. Unless we have any more questions for Ororo, so I think Tsu, you have the floor, buddy. Go ahead.
Hey man. Hi guys. Sorry I wasn't around last call. Had something come up. Basically, we've just been working through this sprint, pretty much the same stuff as we're working through last sprint. We're working on getting these perp swaps sorted. In the meantime, we've started working on an interface for a competition for that. So that should be quite cool. Other than that, we've mainly been working, as well as working on the perp swaps, we've been working on the trading updates of the limit orders and everything. That's all going well, and we expect to have that up on testnet for testing at the end of the week. So that I would hope would be with you before we speak again next. We have, from the creative kind of side of stuff, we wrote the first script for the comic, and we're now just kind of editing that script. The first part of the story is definitely interesting. It kept me hooked to the very end, and I'm waiting for the next one. But we still got to finish the first one, obviously. But yeah, no, that's very exciting stuff. So would be hoping that we would be getting issue 1 out hopefully before the end of the year. Other than that, we've been working on some kind of side projects, tiny bit. So a few months back, a couple of our community, they're our community, but they work for us. They got married on the blockchain through an interface that they created. We've just been tightening that up very slightly because they're going to be writing an article about that So we want to have that up and ready for that article. Other than that, one of the things that we're putting a lot of time into is a FAQ interface. What we're trying to achieve with this is basically have a call to action on every page that allows you to figure out any of your questions, guide you through what you need to do without having to leave that page. So all the information that you could possibly want to understand to do a trade or add liquidity will be there on the page. You won't have to go all over the place, and it should be pretty logical. That's going to take a while to fully implement, but just to let you guys know, that's in progress there. I think that's everything from me, Judas.
Right, sounds good. So when can we marry on the blockchain too?
Well, like I said, this is only the first one, so this is like the kind of alpha beta prototype that they used. But yeah, I believe it will probably look into developing that probably end of Q1, Q2.
Sounds exciting. Okay, I know I'm never gonna marry in my religious however they called in English, the rabbis or whatever. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Okay, our dear community, dear sovereigns, do you have questions for Tu, creative art director? Is the man of creativity, everything brand design related. This is the guy to ask. This is your time. On the meanwhile, don't forget, if you are still somehow not subscribed to our channels, so don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Telegram, subscribe on YouTube, also on Reddit, why not? And obviously make sure that you signed up for Zero email updates. Okay, just go to sovryn.app/0, put in your first name and email, and we will update you first on when the Zero presale starts and all of the details. Okay, do we have any questions for Tu, or can we move on? If there's no unmute in the next 5 seconds, then I think we will move on to Malva, adoption lead. Go ahead, buddy. Floor is yours.
Hi everyone. How are you doing? There's my door. Apologies about that. So an update on, as you may see, there's an interim website up at the moment, replaced the older website. The reason why we did that is we were using an old platform called Forestry, and we couldn't update the website without involving developers to fix even changing the words. So it's an interim website. Hopefully it won't be up for too long, as currently we are working on building a fully fledged website. The wireframe just started. It's going to be probably around 50 pages. It's a massive project. So that's probably going live, I'd like to say end of January, but progress has been made there, and that involves a lot of stuff regarding videos, animations, 2D, 3D, a lot of stuff. So it's a big project. Regarding the team, you'll probably see the team has been forming for the last while under the guidance of Judas, so we've been really good there. A lot of email marketing focused the last few weeks for the launches. Also, we are an internal writer starting next week, and a few other people joining. So the marketing team has been building up for a while. Sorry, I gotta jump on a call here. I'll be back in 2 secs. Sorry, Judas. Can you just carry on for a sec? I'm getting hounded here by calls.
Yeah. So Malva is a very important person, and he's having calls like 24/7. I'm trying to talk to him sometime in the morning or in the afternoon, but there's usually calls interrupting on our way. So basically this is the speaker list for today, guys. I know I had some connectivity issues, so if you would really like, I could repeat my song in the end for those who will stay. But for now, I think that we would open this up for a Q&A, and maybe Malva can continue with his update when he comes back. So I'm now gonna unmute all of you red server muted guys. Please try to behave and mute yourself when others are speaking. And go ahead, come on, ask your questions. That's your time. Don't be shy. There are no bad questions.
I have a question.
Go ahead, buddy.
I don't know if it's a question that's for Malva for adoption, but anyone can really answer. I brought this up in the Telegram about what I think is the best for sovereign adoption is education about RSK and RBTC. So I think to kind of share what my concerns are, I'll share a little bit about my own story. Like, I had Bitcoin on the Bitcoin network doing nothing for years, and when I found about and had an Ethereum DeFi, but I never would risk my Bitcoin on Ethereum DeFi. And when I found out about Sovryn, I kind of jumped the gun and swapped my Bitcoin for RBTC and started to yield farm on Sovryn. And then later on, when I got done researching SK and RBTC, I have to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed with what I found about the true risks of converting Bitcoin into RBTC and using DeFi on Sovryn, because it was a little bit different from what was kind of like what the messaging was when someone first learns about Sovryn. So I think the team, what do you think? Like, what can you say to me to kind of reassure me that when I use RBTC on Sovryn, that it is a trustless form of Bitcoin, because as my understanding is, it depends on the pegnatories, and there are HSMs, which are hardware security modules, but I don't really know how I can verify how that works myself. Whether there are any vulnerabilities regarding that. Then, also related to that is the security of RSK. But maybe we can take this one question at a time.
Thank you very much. Great question.
Please unmute yourself, guys.
So, Goucher Boy, the issue that you raise, first of all, I think the way you raised it was very cool, but the issue that you raise is an important one. We, on these calls and in writing, frequently try to highlight where the risks lie. And for example, the peg, we don't call the peg trustless. We call it trust minimized. And it's definitely a multi-sig system. It's definitely under certain circumstances censorable. And so there is a addition of risk there when you're using RBTC or when you're using Sovryn. So how should we assess this risk? Well, my sense is that this is the most secure system, the most secure multi-sig system, the most secure system for using your Bitcoin. But it is certainly not as secure as using, as keeping your Bitcoin, in a cold wallet. And I have Bitcoin myself in Sovryn. I don't have all of my Bitcoin in Sovryn, but I have a lot of Bitcoin in Sovryn. And my sense is that it's probably safe. But there are failure modes. A failure mode might be that the pegnatories go offline, in which case the peg could cease functioning, at which point it would take a year before the funds are automatically swept through a multi-sig system to a new set of multi-sig holders. It could be that there is an attempt by a majority of paganatories to try and steal funds. They would need to be able to defeat the HSMs, which will only sign transactions that are consuming the correct SPV proofs. So it would be a very, very difficult thing to do. They would need to defeat the HSMs and have a majority of the paganatories.
Can you explain a little bit more about that? Sorry, Yago. Is it possible for a paganatory to replace the HSM? Or is it? I don't really know how an HSM works.
So no, it's not possible. Could you because I hear myself. Thanks. So it's not possible for the paganatories to replace the HSM. So think of the HSM as a little black box. And this black box, if you open it up, it is destroyed. And what this little black box does is you put SPV proofs from Bitcoin and from rootstock into the little black box. If the SPV proofs are correct, then the little black box signs a little note and passes them out. You can't see what's going on in the little black box and you can't manipulate it. So what I mean by defeating the HSM or defeating the little black box is you would need to figure out a vulnerability in the HSM and take advantage of that. And that's possible. But that because the HSMs are effectively using the same technology as Ledger, anyone who's holding their Ledger on their Bitcoin in a cold storage on a Ledger is actually taking on exactly the same risk minus the multi-sig of the paganatories. So in some ways, this might be safer than standard cold storage. When we start getting into the questions of these kinds of security questions, it really depends what your threat model is. And you have to recognize that there is no such thing as perfect security. One of the reasons that perpetual swaps has been postponed is because the audit team, the external audit team, audited things incorrectly. We noticed that they audited things incorrectly, and we have now introduced a new audit, right? But things can go wrong. So whenever, anyone who's using Bitcoin is taking on a certain amount of risk. We've become comfortable with that risk because Bitcoin's been around for 12 years. But the risk remains. So I think what it comes down to is a practical question of, do you think this is too risky?
Well, thank you. I think you've actually explained it pretty clear, much clearer than I understood it before, because I was mainly concerned about whether the paganatories had more control over the HSMs. It sounds like they're more passive.
Yeah, they're pretty passive. Mention one last thing. You also asked about the security. The security of
Can I clarify my question regarding the RSK question?
Sure.
Yeah, so specifically regarding RSK, my concern is that when we talk about hash rate, RSK's hash rate is just saying how much of Bitcoin's network is being merge mined, but actually, so we can't use that hash rate to determine what is the computing power that is needed to attack RSK, because that hash rate is essentially recycled. So really, the security of RSK, to my understanding, is what is the mining reward that's the bonus for the Bitcoin miners that they would kind of give up in order to attack RSK. It seems like that would be proportional to the number of transactions on RSK. So how are we claiming that RSK is the most secure smart contract platform, versus Ethereum? That's my question.
Yeah, so merge mining does introduce this kind of complexity. It's not as straightforward to analyze what the security behind the merge mines chain is. I don't think, however, it's correct to say that it boils down to the transaction fees. It doesn't boil down to the transaction fees for several reasons. First of all, there's systems, any rootstock node can observe bad behavior on the part of miners. In other words, if miners were attempting to introduce a new chain separate from what they were mining for Bitcoin, that would be readily noticeable. Second, extending the rootstock chain actually does require the Bitcoin hash power. So it's true that their rewards are not they're not receiving the entirety of the rewards, but they are participating to the extent. So let's imagine a situation where 100% of Bitcoin miners are participating, just for simplicity. That hash rate would actually be hash rate which is devoted to the rootstock system. And miners could potentially collude to try and restructure, right, reorg the chain. But the level of collusion that would be required would be equivalent to a 51% attack in terms of the amount of hash power devoted. So it's equivalent to a 51% attack on Bitcoin. Where is the game theory different? The game theory is different in that you can say, well, they're able to continue mining on Bitcoin and continue to see those profits unchanged, and so they have sort of a more riskless attack that they can make on a sidechain like Rootstock. And that is true. It's more riskless, but not risk-free. And as Rootstock and merge mining become a more important part of Bitcoin, that risk goes up and up for the miners, and to the point that eventually the two systems are considered identical or near identical. So again, you are assuming additional risk here. But very frequently when people write criticisms, right, what they're pointing out to is potential dangers that may lurk in either game theory or software systems. Potential dangers lurk everywhere. The question is, to what extent?
Can I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
Because I think that the nature of a sidechain may make it even more risky, because Bitcoin, being Bitcoin, has mining pools, which, if it was RSK independently, or if it was another blockchain that didn't have huge mining pools, then the likelihood of hash power being concentrated in these mining pools becomes less. So when we're talking about, one of the assumptions you made was 100% merge mining, but we're only at like 63%. So currently, if we were to say, if you were to try to convince someone Bitcoin would be secure if there was a 30% attack, not a 51%, how would you feel about that? That's kind of how I feel about RSK at the moment.
Yeah. So I think that's a legitimate way to be thinking about it, and one of the goals that we have is to increase the merge mining to 100%, and it's grown 50%. When Sovryn launched, it was at 40%, and now it's around 60%. And we'll bring it to 100%. And you're right. Right now, you'd only need about 40% of Bitcoin hash power to perform a 51%.
So even if we...
Goucher, I think we should move on because I'm sure other people have questions. But thank you very much, and I'm happy to continue this conversation offline.
Okay, yeah, I understand.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Goucher. We'll just circle back to Malva since he's back here with us, and then we'll continue to the rest of the questions. So Malva, go ahead.
Yeah, hi guys. Apologies about that. Got distracted there. So I was talking about the interim website, just live because of problems with the other platform that we want to get. We couldn't update it really. So as the interim site is live, the wireframes for the fully fledged new website is underway, and it's going to take a couple of months to live, but that's going to be, I think, a wow website and have a lot of information, a lot of education about Sovryn, about Rootstock, about stuff we've talked about here, and really focus on educating people who want to use the Sovryn protocol and Bitcoin in general. And just kind of recap over the last few weeks, Honzico has been working on explainer videos about using the DApp. Austin's been working on this week, analytics, so we ensure what we do from a marketing perspective, we can track and we can see where people are coming from, what works, what doesn't work. Sly's been doing a lot of research exactly on this point, Goucher Boy, what we're talking about. What are the vulnerabilities with maybe Rootstock and Sovryn, and be transparent as possible to anyone who wants to use the protocol. And then once we've done that, move on to other DeFi projects, particularly on Bitcoin, such as Stacks or Liquid or Portal or even Bisq, and do kind of a SWOT analysis and a competitor analysis about the trade-offs each one uses, so we know the market and be able to educate people who like Sovryn about the market too. So that's very important. So just on your point, we're deep in that and understanding how we can improve our security, but also help our partnership with Rootstock and improve theirs also. And then probably a lot of stuff is in the background that you may not see, playbooks on how we launch some protocols, new features, getting processes in place as well. And then we're really working with the wiki team, and particularly community is the big one up next, is rewarding people in the community for promoting and helping out other community members, and working on referral links, ambassador programs. So we've conducted a big research on both kind of crypto projects that are doing it well, have run really good communities, and also non-crypto communities that are run really well, what tools they use and how we can implement them in Sovryn. So expect that to come in the next couple of weeks, putting feelers out and telling you how we're doing there. So lots of background stuff that we're working on, and Judas is leading the marketing team really well. It just takes time to build this new team up, and but it's all going well, and we're very excited about the future. So I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone wants to ask me.
Go ahead, everyone. It's your chance to ask the, I don't want to dox him, but the great accent guy all of the questions that you have for him. So go ahead, don't be shy. You probably have a lot of questions about marketing, about adoption. You can shoot them now. No?
No one.
Silent,
Yeah,
radio silent.
Judas,
I can ask.
if that's the case, then I suggest we end the recording, because very frequently people prefer to ask questions after the recording has been ended.
Okay, makes sense. Mickey, let's end the recording, please. By the way, guys, if I'm mentioning Mickey, so I just want you all to know that he wrote an amazing piece that's right now available in HackerNoon. It was actually one of the top viewed articles of the week. I just sent it in the general chat, so if you didn't see it yet, or if you have any new friends who haven't heard about Sovryn, this is a great article to send them to. It explains really in depth from the beginning how to get started, what is Sovryn, why do we need Sovryn, and it's a must read for anyone who's entering this our Sovryn space. So make sure to send it. Mickey, give me a green light once the recording is off, please.
Hello, my name is Mickey. I'm writing for the wiki. I'm stopping the recording right now.